Very good morning to all of you. So today's lecture is diabetes and insulin. So this is also one of the most timely topic, diabetes mellitus. So we are going to cover the diabetes mellitus over the span of total 4 lecture, of which today is the first lecture. In today's lecture we are going to learn about the diabetes mellitus itself and insulin. So start with the lecture. First of all, we are going to learn about basic information about the diabetes, like why diabetes is important, the importance, why it is necessary for us to control the diabetes, types of diabetes, then causes of diabetes, then symptoms and diagnostic criteria, and ultimately we are going to learn about the insulin after that. So start the lecture. Diabetes mellitus, which includes, it's a metabolic disorder which includes hyperglycemia, glycosouria, hyperlipidemia, negative nitrogen balance and ketonemia. Okay, so this is the diabetes mellitus. Now it will lead to the pathological changes which leads to thickening of capillary basement membrane, increased vessel wall matrix and cellular proliferation. Now which leads to lumen narrowing, early atherosclerosis, sclerosis of glomerular capillaries and ultimately retinopathy, neuropathy and peripheral vascular insufficiency. So this is the importance why it is necessary to control the diabetes. Now types of diabetes, which is type 1 and type 2. To start with the type 1, which is insulin dependent diabetes mellitus or juvenile onset diabetes mellitus. The main pathophysiology is beta cell destruction. That's why there is an insulin deficiency. Okay. Of type 1A, there is a type 1A and type B. In type 1A, it is autoantibodies in blood may be found. So ultimately, in type 1, there will be a decreased insulin. Now about the type 2, which is non-insulin dependent diabetes mellitus, which is also called maturity onset diabetes mellitus. There will be no or moderate loss of beta cells. So no antibodies or will be seen on, ultimately there will be a genetic predisposition can be seen in type 2 diabetes, and insulin will be normal or decreased or increased. So these are the types of diabetes. Now causes of type 2. Why type 2? Because type 1 we have already discussed, but type 2 is the most timely for us. The most of the patient we are going to go through will be most of the time type 2 diabetes, which is maturity onset. After 50 or 60 years, the patient we are facing, which are type 2 diabetes. So first is abnormality in glucoreceptor of beta cells or relative beta cell deficiency. So ultimately decreased insulin secretion, decreased sensitivity of peripheral tissue to the insulin. So ultimately down regulation of the insulin receptor. Okay. Now increased hyperglycemia, hormones or obesity, which is one of the reason. So these are the causes. Okay. Now spectrum. Diabetes, normal glucose, pre-diabetics and diabetes mellitus. So normal glucose fasting, if it is 100, less than 100, or 2 hour postprandial, which is less than 140. Pre-diabetics, which is 100 to 125 fasting and 140 to 199, which is pre-diabetic, 2 hour postprandial. And now the diabetes mellitus, which is also diagnostic criteria. If fasting blood glucose, which is more than 126 milligram per deciliter, and 2 hour postprandial glucose milligram per deciliter more than 200, so it will be diagnosed as a diabetes mellitus with clinical symptoms. Okay, so this is very most timely. What is the range? We all know that what is called to be a diabetes mellitus. So kindly do remember fasting plasma glucose, which is more IMP, fasting and random. In next slide we are going to discuss about random. So ultimately the criteria for diagnosis of diabetes mellitus will be first symptoms of diabetes plus RBS, which is more than 200 milligram per deciliter. Please do remember this is the most IMP, because on this all the diagnosis of the diabetes is depends. So any doctor can find if the person is having a diabetes or not, which is on the basis of symptom plus these criteria, RBS and FBS. FBS, fasting plasma glucose, will be more than 126, more than or equal to, and RBS will be more than or equal to 200 milligram per deciliter. Or third will be 2-hour plasma glucose, which is more than or equal to 200 milligram per deciliter during oral glucose tolerance test. Now the regulation of insulin secretion, which includes hormonal factor, neural and chemical factor. These three factors are responsible for the insulin regulation. So we have been gone through the part of diabetes, basic information of diabetes, diagnosis, causes, symptoms and importance. Now we are start with the insulin. So insulin, the three factors which regulate the insulin secretion in our body, of which first is hormonal factor. So in pancreatic there are beta cell, alpha cell and delta cell. So these three regulate ultimately insulin secretion by acting on one another. So alpha cell will secrete glucagon, beta cell will secrete insulin and delta cell will secrete somatostatin. So glucagon or alpha cell will increase the insulin and somatostatin secretion. What the glucagon from the alpha cell is having a positive effect. When glucagon is secreted from the alpha cell, it will increase the secretion of insulin from beta cell and somatostatin from delta cell. Okay, clear for glucagon and alpha cell. Now somatostatin, which is having an inhibitory effect on beta cell and alpha cell. So ultimately the somatostatin from the delta cell will decrease the insulin and glucagon secretion both. Okay, and ultimately the beta cell, which is having only effect on alpha cell glucagon only. So ultimately the insulin will decrease the glucagon secretion. So the effect is depends on one another. So these are the hormonal factor which ultimately regulate the insulin secretion. Now neural factor. So alpha adrenergic receptor, in short we are going to talk alpha adrenergic receptors will decrease the insulin secretion. Beta 2 adrenergic receptor will increase the insulin secretion, and muscarinic cholinergic receptor will increase the insulin secretion. So remember the ANS system, in which beta and cholinergic muscarinic receptor, beta adrenergic and cholinergic muscarinic receptor ultimately increase insulin secretion, and alpha 2 adrenergic receptor will decrease insulin secretion. So neural factor over. Now chemical factor. So glucose is arriving. Okay, so glucose will be transported by GLUT into the cell, ultimately which is metabolized, and there will be, if glucose is metabolized to ATP, there will be a decreased potassium entry from the potassium channel, and ultimately if potassium is decreased in cell which depolarize, okay, the calcium channel, and ultimately calcium will be increased. Potassium decrease, if potassium decrease, calcium is increased, and ultimately the calcium will act on stored insulin in cyst or wherever the insulin is stored, and ultimately the insulin will be exocytes of the cell and insulin will be secreted. This is the chemical factor. One is glucose, which leads the insulin secretion. Second is incretin, which is, we will discuss about the incretin in further slides. So incretin, which is secreted due to the glucose entry in the GI tract. So ultimately incretin also leads to increase in CMP and stored insulin is secreted. So these are the chemical factor which regulate the insulin secretion, which increase or decrease insulin secretion. Hormonal factor we have discussed, this is chemical. Now this is insulin secreted, and neuronal factor we discussed. Now if there is a fasting state, so what will happen? If fasting, there is a glucose will be decreased, no insulin will be secreted. So adipose tissue fatty acid will be secreted as lipolytic enzymes, which is in the absence of insulin will be activated, and ultimately adipose tissue में से जो fatty acid lipolysis होगा, fatty acid will be secreted and which will be goes to the liver for the substrate as an energy substrate. So fatty acid will be increased in which state? Fasting state. Why? Because there will be no insulin in decreased glucose state. So this is the fasting state, not, and glucagon also will be increased. Decreased glucose will also send the impulses to brain, and ultimately brain will send the impulses to pancreatic islet, glucagon will be secreted. Okay, and ultimately accordingly decreased glucose output from the liver and all will be done according to the fasting state. Now prandial state, in which glucose is 120 to 140 milligrams, so insulin will be secreted. So insulin will, so on the basis of insulin, the lipolysis will not be occurred in the adipose tissue, and no free fatty acid will be secreted from the adipose tissue or will not be used as an energy substance in the liver in the prandial state. Okay, and ultimately it will be used as insulin from in liver and skeletal muscle, and in brain it will act. Okay, so this is the basic. Now it is incretin. So incretin is like more insulin release if glucose is given orally than IV. So how? So when glucose will be absorbed from oral, so when we are going to give the glucose orally, it will goes to the GI tract, and ultimately the chemical signals called incretin from gut will be released and act on the beta cell of the pancreas, and insulin release will be occurred. Got it? So glucose by oral route will goes to the GI tract, and chemical signal called incretin due to glucose in gut will be released, and incretin, as we have seen in the previous slide, incretin will ultimately release the insulin. Now examples of incretin are GLP glucagon like peptide 1, GIP glucose dependent intestinal peptide, VIP vasoactive intestinal polypeptide, and cholecystokinin pancreozymin. These are the incretin. Now we have been gone through the diabetes and basic insulin. Now when basic insulin mechanism. Now when there is a diabetes, so which are the approaches how we can treat the diabetes? So first, improve the insulin availability, which is exogenous insulin. इंसुलिन बाहर से दे सकते हैं. सल्फोनाइल यूरिएज, so these are the oral hypoglycemic. After using the oral hypoglycemic like sulfonyl urease, the secretion of insulin from the beta cell will be increased. Maglitide, phenylalanine, dipeptide, this is also maglitide also like same like sulfonyl urease mechanism action. Dipeptidyl peptidase 4 inhibitor and GLP-1 receptor, though these last two drugs are act by incretin mechanism. Overcome the insulin resistance by biguanide, metformin, which is the most commonly used oral hypoglycemic drug for the diabetes. Other are thiazolidinediones, alpha glucosidase inhibitor. Now, the major limitations of the first group is multiple daily injection if insulins are given, hypoglycemic episode with the sulfonylureas and all drugs, weight gain due to insulin, and concern about the premature atherosclerosis due to hyperinsulinemia. While second group major limitation is inability of the to achieve the normoglycemia by themselves in many patients or moderate to severe cases. Now this is the further learn about detail though. This is the history. So insulin was mainly discovered by mainly the Banting and Best, and which is like a miracle, so which saved many lives, and they also got the Nobel Prize for the same. Now synthesis or processing of insulin in our body, so pro-insulin is first, then it is converted to, first is pre-pro-insulin, then pro-insulin, and ultimately insulin is made. So this is the process. Now due to insulin there are many Nobel Prize to Banting and many further, Frederick Sanger, which sequence of insulin, amino acid sequence of insulin discovered or invented by Frederick Sanger. So lots of Nobel Prize, in short lots of Nobel Prize which is due to insulin, and जो इंसुलिन के रिगार्डिंग जो भी इन्वेंशन हुआ है उसके रिगार्डिंग काफ़ी नोबेल प्राइज दिए हुए हैं. तो दिस इज द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ इंसुलिन. नाउ एक्शन ऑफ इंसुलिन सिंथेसिस तो ठीक है, इंसुलिन का इन्वेंशन, बांटिंग एंड बेस्ट, एंड मैनी नोबेल प्राइज. ओके, नाउ एक्शन इंसुलिन कौन कौन सी है? तो ओवरऑल इफेक्ट ऑफ इंसुलिन आर टू डिस्पोज, ओवरऑल इफेक्ट याद रखना है. द ओवरऑल इफेक्ट ऑफ इंसुलिन आर टू डिस्पोज द मील डिराइव्ड ग्लूकोज, एमिनो एसिड, फैटी एसिड, एंड फेवर द स्टोरेज ऑफ फ्यूअल. ओके, अल्टीमेटली इट इज द मेजर एनाबॉलिक हार्मोन. कॉर्टिकोस्टेरॉइड थी ऑलमोस्ट इट इज ऑपोजिट, सो ट्राई टू रिमेंबर लाइक दैट. तो कॉर्टिकोस्टेरॉइड और इंसुलिन दोनों याद रह जाएगा. तो मेजर एनाबॉलिक हार्मोन. तो ग्लूकोज ट्रांसपोर्टर कौन कौन से है? तो जो इन विच द ग्लूकोज विल बी गोज इनटू पर्टिकुलर सेल. तो ग्लूट 1, 2, 3, 4, ऑफ विच ग्लूट 1 and 3 आर नॉन इंसुलिन मीडिएटेड ग्लूकोज अपटेक, while 3 and 4 which is a glucose insulin mediated. Now GLUT 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 main tissue. GLUT 1 are mainly RBC and brain. GLUT 2 is beta cell, pancreas, liver, kidney, gut. GLUT 3 brain, kidney, placenta. GLUT 4 which is a skeletal muscle and adipose tissue, and GLUT 5 GIT and kidney. GLUT 2 pancreas, GLUT 4 muscle and adipose tissue. Now what is the mechanism? So all we know in the general pharmacology, we have been gone through the JAK-STAT, tyrosine kinase receptor. Okay, so we are not going to learn deeply about that, but when there is an insulin, it will act on insulin receptor. The insulin receptor with insulin will be internalized, and internalized receptor ultimately act on GLUT4 receptor, activate the GLUT4 receptor. So GLUT4 रिसेप्टर ऐसे ही घूम रहे होते हैं, उसको मेम्ब्रेन में जहाँ ग्लूकोज एब्सॉर्ब हो सकता है वहाँ पे GLUT4 रिसेप्टर विल बी गोज ड्यू टू इफेक्ट ऑफ इंसुलिन, एंड अल्टीमेटली ग्लूकोज विल बी एब्सॉर्ब ड्यू टू GLUT4 which is activated by the insulin, and ultimately the glucose will be absorbed. So this is the mechanism in brief. Now the action on glucose. So now we are talking about the effects of insulin. So first of all, we are going to talk about the actions on glucose. So it facilitates the glucose transport across the cell membrane. Okay, जहाँ पे भी है वहाँ पे glucose transport, facilitate the glucose transport, of which skeletal muscle and fat are highly sensitive of insulin. Intracellular glucose is the limiting factor for the absorption. Other tissue which include liver, brain, RBC, WBC and renal medullary cell, it is largely independent of insulin. So we have to remember these also, the insulin dependence and insulin non-dependent. If there is a ketoacidosis, it will interfere with the glucose utilization by the brain and which leads to ultimately diabetic coma. Muscular activity, these are other factors. Insulin is also factor, but ketoacidosis, muscular activity which increase glucose entry without insulin need, and insulin sparing effect will be seen if there is a muscular activity, and upregulation of GLUT synthesis will be seen. So ultimately the dynamic equilibrium between intracellular pool of vesicles containing GLUT4 and GLUT1 and the GLUT vesicles which were inserted into the membrane. So equilibrium not that much important, but the ultimately जो हमने देखा था इन प्रीवियस स्लाइड, तो दीज आर द वेसिकल जो GLUT4 अभी देख रहे हैं यहाँ पे बिफोर इंटरनलाइज इनटू मेम्ब्रेन, तो उसके बीच और जो GLUT4 ड्यू टू इंसुलिन जो इंटरनलाइज इन मेम्ब्रेन फॉर द ग्लूकोज एब्सॉर्प्शन ये दिख रहा है, तो उसके बीच में एक इक्विलिब्रियम रहेगा. नॉट दैट मच इंपॉर्टेंट, बट नाउ अदर increased phosphorylation of the glucose will be seen due to insulin. It stimulates the enzyme glycogen synthase with increased glycogen synthesis in liver, muscle and fat. So ultimately from glucose will be internalized, so it will be converted to glycogen. It inhibits the glycogen degrade and phosphorylase decreased glycogenolysis. तो glycogen degrade होगा तो ग्लूकोज उसमें से निकलेगा, तो ग्लूकोज भी बढ़ जाएगा, ऐसा तो इंसुलिन नहीं करने देगा. तो increase glycogen synthesis, decrease glycogenolysis. Insulin inhibits the gluconeogenesis from protein, fatty acid and glycerol by decreased synthesis of carboxykinase. तो ultimately ग्लूकोज को कम करना है एनी हाउ, तो वो जो प्रोटीन, फैटी एसिड, ग्लिसरॉल वो इंसुलिन की जो जब ग्लूकोज कम होता है तो इसमें से ग्लूकोज बनता है फॉर द फुलफिलमेंट ऑफ द रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ द बॉडी. तो इट विल ऑल्सो बी डिक्रीज बाय इंसुलिन. लास्ट में इंसुलिन, इफ देयर इज इंसुलिन डेफिशिएंसी, प्रोटीन एंड एमिनो एसिड्स आर फनल इनटू लिवर एंड कन्वर्टेड टू कार्बोहाइड्रेट एंड यूरिया, and underutilization and overproduction of glucose, hyperglycemia and glycosuria can be seen when there is a insulin is decreased. Now glucose पे जो एक्शन था वो देख लिया हमने. Now what is the action on lipid? तो insulin inhibits the lipolysis and stimulate the triglyceride synthesis. तो but when there is a diabetes mellitus, तो there is a unchecked action of lipolytic hormones which includes glucagon, adrenaline, thyroxine, etc. So increased breakdown of fat, increased free folic acid, free fatty acid and glycerol in blood, and which will be taken up by the liver to produce acetyl coenzyme. So acetyl coenzyme is a ketone body. So ultimately in diabetes mellitus there is a increased ketone bodies. Okay. So acetyl coenzyme in normally will be resynthesized to fatty acid and triglyceride, but in diabetes it is diverted to produce ketone bodies which include acetone, acetoacetate and beta hydroxybutyrate, and ultimately ketonemia and ketonuria will be seen. So this is the action. Ultimately insulin will decreases the lipolytic enzymes or hormones action on lipids in adipose tissue. If insulin decrease, तो lipolytic hormone or enzyme will be activated, and ultimately free fatty acid and or triglyceride will be increased. So this is the action of insulin on lipid. Now the action on protein. So insulin facilitates the amino acid entry and synthesis into protein. Now you just mark one thing. All the actions of insulin, either on glucose, either on fatty acid or in protein, these are all anabolic action. So try to remember. So it will be easy for us to remember that we have to do ultimately the anabolic action. So accordingly we can remember or write the action of insulin. All should be done in anabolic manner. Either it is glucose or fat or protein. So insulin facilitates the amino acid entry and synthesis into protein. So it inhibits protein breakdown, which is anabolic, all we know. But if there is a diabetes mellitus, protein breakdown will be seen, amino acid released into blood and taken up by liver, and which will be converted to pyruvate, urea and glucose. So excess urea is excreted into the urine, and this will create the negative nitrogen balance. So this is the diabetes mellitus action. Now actions of insulin producing hypoglycemia on liver, muscle and adipose tissue. So insulin is ultimately decreasing the glucose in body. So liver to increase uptake of glucose and decrease glycogen synthesis. Increase glucose uptake and increase glycogen synthesis, but it will decrease the glycogenolysis and decrease glucose output. Okay. Now muscle, so increase glucose uptake and its utilization will be increased, but proteolysis, release of amino acid, pyruvate, lactate into blood, which form the substrate of gluconeogenesis, will be decreased. तो अल्टीमेटली ग्लूकोज को बनने नहीं देगा और मसल को टूटने नहीं देगा. सो ग्लूकोज को बनने नहीं देगा, विच इज अ हाइपोग्लाइसेमिक इफेक्ट, एंड मसल को टूटने नहीं देगा, विच इज एनाबॉलिक इफेक्ट. एडिपोज टिश्यू इंक्रीज द ग्लूकोज अपटेक एंड स्टोरेज एज अ फैट एंड ग्लाइकोजन. तो ग्लूकोज जो ज्यादा है वो इट विल बी स्टोर्ड एज अ फैट एंड ग्लाइकोजन. Lipolysis and release of free fatty acid plus glycerol, which is a form of substrate for gluconeogenesis liver, will be decreased. तो ग्लूकोज में से फैट बनता है, फैट में से फिर से ग्लूकोज बनता है, तो ग्लूकोज इन शॉर्ट इंसुलिन विल बी फ्री फैट और उसको बढ़ा देगा, लेकिन लाइपोलाइसिस करके फ्री फैटी एसिड बना के फिर से उसका ग्लूकोनियोजेनेसिस नहीं होने देगा. दिस इज द एक्शन ऑफ इंसुलिन. Now all the actions can be divided in three on the basis of time in three types: rapid action, intermediate action and long term action. So rapid action, which will be seen in within second or minutes, and most of the above metabolic effect are rapid action. Intermediate actions can be seen after few hours, which is DNA mediated synthesis of glucose transporter and synthesis of amino acid metabolism, and long term action, which is a multiplication and differentiation of many type of cells. So these are the actions, and ultimately what is the fate of insulin? So it is generally distributed extracellularly. If given orally, तो degraded in GIT. So this is the why I have highlighted. So why insulin is not given orally? It is degraded abruptly in GIT. That's why it is given subcutaneously or intravenously or intramuscularly even. Metabolism, it is metabolized more in liver than in subsequently muscle and kidney also. Nearly half of it entering in portal vein is inactivated in the first passage through the liver. Degradation, तो disulfide bonds are reduced and A and B chains are separated ultimately, and plasma half-life is 5 to 9 minutes. Now, which are the reactions to insulin? So first, all we know, which is hypoglycemia, which is most frequent and most serious. Patient with labile diabetes in whom insulin requirement fluctuate unpredictably, which is the most frequently having the hypoglycemic symptoms. Reasons, most of the time reasons are injection of the large doses of insulin, missing a meal after injection, vigorous exercise, all are these are the reasons which leads to hypoglycemia. Now symptoms due to counter-regulatory sympathetic stimulation, there will be a sweating, anxiety, palpitation and tremor due to deprivation of the brain of glucose, which is neuroglucopenic, which is dizziness, headache, behavioral changes, visual disturbances, fatigue and weakness. And if finally blood glucose is less than 40 milligram per deciliter, there will be a mental confusion, seizure, coma and irreversible neurological deficit. So why it is important, why I have highlighted, these all are need to be remembered for all of us. This is very common as we can see in the patient of diabetes with the insulin. So we have to teach about this also, that how, when they have to be more cautious, which are the symptoms of hypoglycemia, how they can identify on their self, वो अपने आप कैसे जान सकते हैं कि मुझे हाइपोग्लाइसेमिया हुआ है. तो उससे पहले एटलीस्ट वी मस्ट नो that what is the symptom of hypoglycemia and which is very IMP. So try to remember for lifetime that these are the symptoms which of the hypoglycemia. So as they are very serious and life threatening and with a very much mortality and morbidity, we must remember these are the symptoms of hypoglycemia for our betterment of clinical practice. In some of the patients, there will be a hypoglycemic unawareness. This is also a new term for us. So after a long-term treatment of diabetes, 30% patient lost adrenergic symptoms. Why? Because of diabetic neuropathy, which can abolish the autonomic symptoms. Okay. So in patients who experience frequent episode of hypoglycemia, this unawareness which leads to frequent episode. Now, what will be the treatment? If you find the patient of hypoglycemia nearby you, so what will you do? So glucose is must, so orally or intravenously, which reverses the symptom rapidly. If glucose is not available or patient is not able to take glucose orally, glucagon can also be given. So we generally advise physician or a doctor that put a chocolate with you always, the patient of or with the insulin. So when there is a symptoms like that, so immediately he or she can bite the chocolate or increase the glucose in his or her body. Now other reactions are insulin resistance. If insulin requirement is more than 100 unit per day, it will be called as a insulin resistance. It is generally common with beef or pork insulin, but it is less with human insulin. Mechanism is generally antibody to homologous insulin or contaminating protein. Local reaction which include after injection, which include swelling, erythema or stinging. Lipodystrophy of subcutaneous fat if same site is used repeatedly. So this is also one of the common lipodystrophy. Allergy due to contaminating proteins, urticaria, angioedema and anaphylaxis. Edema can be seen due to sodium retention. Now drug interactions of insulin, so it will act with the beta adrenergic blockers. So it inhibits the compensatory mechanism operating through beta 2 receptor. So it will prolong the hypoglycemia. Okay, so when there is a beta adrenergic blocker, so as we have seen in a neuropathic patient, in them there is a frequent episode as there is an unawareness of hypoglycemia. Same will be created by beta blocker. So it will inhibit the compensatory mechanism which is operating through the beta 2 receptor. Other are thiazide, furosemide, which is a diuretic corticosteroid, we have been gone through. Ocipil, salbutamol, nifedipine, these all drugs can increase the blood glucose and reduces the effectiveness of insulin. Acute alcohol ingestion, which depletes the hepatic glycogen and precipitates the hypoglycemia. Lithium, aspirin and theophylline, which increase the insulin secretion and peripheral glucose utilization, which ultimately leads to hypoglycemia. So these are the drug interaction. Now factors affecting the absorption of insulin, which is site of injection, which is abdomen, which is abdomen is having a more absorption, which is followed by the arm, buttocks and thighs. Blood flow also affect the absorption, of which intramuscular and subcutaneous. Intramuscular is having a more blood flow, more absorption. Muscular, regional muscular activity, which also increases the absorption at the site of injection. Type of insulin, of which we will discuss in next few slides. Volume and concentration, very logical, and depth of injection. These are the factors which affect the insulin. Now, which are the preparations available of insulin? Okay, which are the preparation? So, rapid acting, intermediate acting, short acting and long acting. So, as we have seen about all about the insulin, okay, we have been going through about the insulin, but the insulin are of different use. Some is during the meal, some is during the whole day, some is for the night time, some is for the postprandial. So for which we have developed various type of insulin. So now first rapid acting, which is insulin, lispro, aspart and glulysin. Short acting, which is regular insulin, normal. Intermediate, which is suspended, insulin is suspended with the protamine or zinc. So the half-life will be increased, which is insulin zinc suspension, or which is also called lente insulin, or NPH, neutral protamine hagedon, isofen insulin. Long acting insulin, which is insulin glargine and datamate. Now types of insulin, which is rapid acting, lispro, aspart and glulysin, which generally acts within 10 to 20 minutes. Okay, duration of rapid acting insulin is 3 to 5 hours generally, and role, which is generally it covers the insulin need for the meal time eaten at the same time. Okay, short acting, which generally act in 30 to 60 minutes and duration is 6 to 8 hours. It covers the insulin need for meal eaten within 30 to 60 minutes. So intermediate acting, which is neutral protamine hagedon, which act onset within 1 to 2 hours and duration is 12 to 20 hours. It covers the insulin need for the about half the day or overnight. Now the longer acting, which is degludec, glargine, datamine, which generally act in 90 to about half hour to 1.5 hours. The duration is 20 to 24 hours. There is no peak of insulin. There is a peakless insulin. There is long acting, and it covers the insulin need for about 1 full day. Now, some of the pre-mixed regimens are also in use, which is mixed in a 30-70, 50-50 or 25-75 ratio. So, pre-mixed, split mix regimen, so 30-70, or these all are generally act within 15 to 30 minutes, and duration they have 14 to 24 hours. Okay. So generally these products are generally taken 2 or 3 times a day before meal time. And now the inhaler insulin, the insulin which can be taken by inhaled route, by nebulizer. So Exubera and Afrezza, which is generally banned, but for the sake of knowledge we can know about it. So these are the various insulin. So These are the insulin and types of insulin. Now, next lecture we will discuss in deep about these types of insulin, okay, and various regimen which is generally in use. So, we will now meet in second lecture.